Portuguese are coming into Africa, and they are not coming in as missionaries. And why am I saying that? Why am I taking the time to say that the Portuguese are not coming in as missionaries? Because today, when we see Europeans coming into Africa, they're namely coming as missionaries to teach. The Europeans of old understood that when they was coming to Africa, that they was bringing a pen and a pad, and they were learning. They were not teaching. The Portuguese, as they're coming into the West African kingdom of Benin, they're coming in because this particular area of the world is rich in gold. I.e., this is the Gold Coast of Africa. And the Portuguese set up colonies during the 14th, 15th, and 16th centuries, which is the height of the transatlantic slave trade, to mine gold. No.
Slave people.
Why am I saying no? Because if I'm mining gold, the assumption or the underlying statement is I have ties to this land, which they do not. If I'm mining gold, there's a connection that I have to this land, lineage-wise, which they do not. So I said no immediately when I said that they were mining gold as a suggestion, because they're here to steal gold. They're here to exploit the mineral resources of Africa. Again, going back to the movie Wakanda, remember I told you that the world scene, based on the West African theory, would be Nigeria. Nigeria's chief mineral source, aside from one other, is uranium. Uranium is used as a reactor to build nuclear weapons. You can't have nuclear fusion without utilizing uranium. In the movie, they call it vibranium. When the reality is we're talking about uranium, which is rich in the Gold Coast, but namely rich in this area of the world that we are calling Nigeria, which would be the world scene for
But to add, just to add, what we don't understand is today we talk about things like cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. Is that correct?
Yep.
Right? And a Bitcoin is a cross-border currency, right? You can drop it off anywhere and exchange it anywhere, right?
Yep.
Gold was one of those cross-border currencies. But more importantly, the African human was a cross-border currency. We were the first Bitcoin, because you could drop an African off anywhere and he's going to make you money by doing your labor for you. We the first Bitcoin. So all these concepts of Bitcoin and all of that, we the first Bitcoin. So this trade was to get some gold, but mostly to get us. Because you could drop us off in Europe, and then later you can drop us in the Americas, and guess what? We're going to make you rich because you got free labor. Your people don't have to do it. So we are the first Bitcoin. So when we're looking at these modern concepts, they grow out of this whole concept of these Portuguese taking Africans. And this is the worst of the pictures right here. People don't know this. This is an African chief, right? King. And on his crown are Portuguese. Right? And what this signifies to his own people is that I have power, right? But he didn't know, ultimately at the end of the day, he would be part of the slave trade. So they exploited the wars in Ouida, they exploited the wars in Africa because they gave Africans guns. And those Africans who had those guns were able to quickly dominate tribes that they weren't able to dominate. But here he's showing you the dynamic. You see the African, and on top is the European, Portuguese. And this represents the slave trade. Those people who say that there was no slave trade, they don't have an artifact. This is an artifact that directly